It's time for you to get limber with Gregory Skeete. Over these 3 days, you're going to be hearing about being loud, being limber, being open, getting uneasy, and getting dapper. So we're going to try it now. So we're going to be limber, open, uneasy, and dapper. So before Mr. Skeete comes, we're going to share with you the introduction, working on that same theme for the conference, Target Insight. So if you're going to post anything on social media, you can do hashtag Target Insight, hashtag LOUD22. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory Skeete.
Meet Skeete, Gregory Skeete, a human and business performance consultant helping leaders and organizations solve priority challenges and drive strategic results. Skeete is an expert in engineering, business, and people development. Our intel has revealed that he's a girl dad and lover of reggae music. He has worked across the Americas and Europe and has trained under other global experts like Dr. John C. Maxwell and Sir Richard Branson.
All right. A warm good afternoon to each and everyone here today. So happy to see all of these faces. Another round of applause for the CSHRP team, putting all this together so far. And another applause for young Bit and the Honorable the Mighty Gabby. They were both excellent, right? Talking about talent development. All right. So we're ready to get started. And just to check on the deck. All right, everybody can see. You got to switch to the start and the full screen. Just while the tech guys get everything flowing, I'll keep it moving anyways. So you heard a bit about me in that bio, and I'd probably say my career has been pretty limber to that point. You can tell me if you agree. Yes. I started in the power generation sector before transitioning into manufacturing, after learning mechanical engineering and then moving into process engineering. Developed there, the guy that would make everything tick, work well, systems, operational efficiency, all those things. I was fortunate, and this is for everybody right now who's in HR, to be part of a mentorship program at the start of my career that was built to develop someone who could be general manager of any one of the companies in a group conglomerate within 3 to 5 years. That exposed me to everything: engineering, quality assurance, production, systems engineering, IT, you name it. And without that, I would not be the person I am today. That growth of mentorship was important. But while I was working for, I realized something that stuck with me along the way. Process engineering, operations engineering is great, is important, but it's never enough. I learned very quickly in my youth and experience that if you don't master other skills such as leadership, people development, you yourself can only do so much. It is said one person can never achieve anything great on their own. And everything comes back to people. So I took a leap of faith, transitioned into entrepreneurship after getting certified as a John Maxwell coach, Maxwell leadership team, meeting people like Dr. Robert Cialdini, John Maxwell himself, Sir Richard Branson, as part of the President Obama Wildlife Fellowship in 2016, and continue to grow as an entrepreneur, starting Life Engineering, consulting and training, but also the Pelican company, which is basically a kid's version of the same thing. And does that sound limber to you? Oh, yeah. You sure? No. For all of that limberness, nothing prepared me for January 2020. Because this little sweetheart was born 28 months ago today, January 11th, 2020. I used to be active on social media, LinkedIn videos, everything else. I posted this video April 2020, after the 3-month phase. Like, all right, navigate that hardship. Let's get back into the flow of business. Made a big post on LinkedIn about my early lessons as a parent and how I'm ready to get going on social media again. And the next day, we went into lockdown. So for those of you who may be parents, you know, having a child is difficult. Having your first child is a unique experience. So much to learn. If you're a corporate professional, husband and wife, whatever, you know how much it takes. If you're an entrepreneur, even more difficult. If both parents are entrepreneurs, another level up. If both are entrepreneurs running 2 different organizations, parenting through a pandemic. This was my lesson in limber. I don't think it was ready. I don't think no parent ever fully is. The very best experience in the world, but all of a sudden, you need to change. As the one and only constant in this life, you agree? So that's a bit about me. And you may be asking yourself, so why is someone with an engineering background sharing this today? Engineering is at the core of what I do. Because I was fortunate, folks, again, early mentorship. A senior engineer close to retirement, he had a seminar. He broke it down for us. He said, you know, we think engineering comes from engines. Makes sense, right? Engine engineering, that's what I thought. Civil structures, electrical, mechanical, all these things. But he explained that it really came from the Latin word for ingenuity, which is nothing more than what? Creative problem solving. Who has problems? Show of hands. If you got some kind of problems in your life, in your organization, anywhere that you're trying to solve, show of hands. Everybody, right? Everybody. Some people put 2 hands up. All right. And what is life? Nothing more than a process of growth, positive change in some direction. And I wanted to commit my life to developing this concept of life engineering, making engineering accessible to any professional. Nothing intimidating, scary, because guess what? You practice it on some level every single day. This conference, LOUD22, a feat of engineering to make all this happen. It's not easy, folks, pulling these things off. And you know it from your organizations, how many parts are in motion. So if you came looking for just a motivational speech, that's not really my style. I believe motivation should be a byproduct. And I believe that when you lose motivation, is often expressing that you need a solution for something. So I deal in solutions. That's what I love. And that's what today's session is going to be about. Sounds good? All right. But before that, let me just get a gauge of who's in the room very quickly. So first question, who's been in the workforce, whether HR professional or otherwise, 0 to 5 years? Any relatively young? All right. Got a couple over here. Great start. Keep it going. How about 6 to 10 years? Anybody in that span? All right, all right. 11 to 15. That's my zone. 16 to 20. All right, we got some more. 20 plus to not date anybody. Jeez. The experience, right? Who knows how much experience lies in this room and across your organizations? Sometimes we forget to add these years together to see the sum total of knowledge that exists that you can tap into. And that's something you need to remember as a professional when you go back. Next question. If you would say you are more logical, raise your hand. If you think you're more creative, stay still. Logical or creative? Yeah, which one? Which one? A bit of both, that's me too. It happens, right? And we should use both parts of it. Bring it back to the Caribbean. Soca or reggae? Hands up for soca, hands down for reggae. We got soca, we got both, I see plenty of soca. All right, all across the Caribbean. We're fully connected here today. And then so, we did a little volume check earlier, but I am not sure I was fully impressed. I'm not sure. So if you are thrilled, excited, happy to be a part of LOUD22, that this CSHRP team has done an amazing job, that they pull all the stops to put the best possible program together for you. On the count of 3, just let me hear you keep your loudest possible noise. 1, 2, 3. All right. That was extremely average. I had some kids in a room like this about 3 years back. They did like 10 times you, same numbers. So I'm gonna give you one more shot. One more shot. On the count of 3, if you're happy to be here, let me hear some noise. 1, 2, 3. That's more like it. And the short lesson here, folks, there's always more than you think you have. We really operate at our high performance, our peak performance levels. Sometimes it just takes a few attempts to get going, right? So we heard all about load. We got the theme down pat. And you know, in the Caribbean, let me see if anybody fully Caribbean. Hurricane season, trees are blowing. And you probably heard the old folks say, if you don't bend, you would. All right. If you don't bend, you'll break. Part of being agile. Would you agree? All right. So today's lesson is going to be broken down into shapes 101, like a good engineering professional would. So we have some activities for you. So first up, I'll ask everybody to just stand very quickly, as I explain, because who has had to be more limber than HR professionals over the past 3 years? You've been through the pits, folks. It's been difficult. Everyone turning to you for solutions. Often lack of resources, lack of support, but still keeping everybody in line, aligned, in motion. Would you agree? It's been tough. You've had to be limber. So I don't have any doubts about that part of your capacity. But, and I heard Joan likes to move as well, I want to see about your physical capacity right now. So everybody, right now, we're going to drift over to this side, and we're going to make a circle, because circles are part of what keep us together. Circles are what keep us together, right, folks? And I get a little music going again so that we can all hear it, right? DJ, hit me, please. So me and my wife, we haven't gotten out too much during the pandemic. Haven't gotten any fets, any parties, anything. So I beg your indulgence. As we get this track going, it's a hybrid event, online, offline. So we're gonna make our way just around this room in one circle. Look at the folks at home watching, and I'm gonna show you the shape. All right, these are our circles. No audio? So everybody's getting the audio ready together for you guys. Let me know. All right. Sounds like something's happening. I saw Corinne Dubois perform this a cappella right in this very space. All right. Let's go, folks. Limber up. DJ man, we ain't pulling up this one. Let me go, folks. All from this side, up to the cameras. Let me go. All the way up. And as you come up, let me see your circles. Circles, circles, circles. To the folks at home, we ain't forget you. We're on a mission. All right, all right. People looking limber. You're looking limber. I like it, Joan. I see you. And we got Celia Cullimore, corporate wellness expert. Looking limber, Celia. Get people together. Circles, 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 circles. Circles, circles, circles. That is what CSHRP is about. Break it down. All right. Online crew, where you at? Put some circles in the chat. Folks looking limber. Different levels of limber. I like it. I like it. Woo. That looks like a full circle. Everybody can ease back to your seats because LOUD22 is live. All right, all right, all right. Woo. We have some laughter. People are looking limber. Hope you enjoyed it at home. Hope you did a little dance if you're just around the kitchen table even. Woo, that was good? A little bit warmer, right? We're getting limber, good. Work hard, play hard. No, it works. You gotta love technology, right? So, why should agility even matter for the HR business partner? Because that is what you are. A person in charge to keep the people operations, the actual operations, all functioning seamlessly. And there's another quote that says, when is the best time to change the roof of a house? Someone says, well, before the rain falls. Makes sense, right? But some cheeky person may also ask, well, if the rain isn't falling, why should I change the roof at all? And what's the right answer? It may not be either. However, what leaders have to understand is that the rain always comes. And there are some conditions that are inevitable. It's not if, it's just a question of when. You agree? And we see that play out in our organizations, in our own lives. The unexpected, but at some point inevitable. So when these rains of change come, we find that change fits into one of two categories. I say chance and choice. It's written in the good book somewhere that these are the two ways that humans evolve. Either by the push of pain, you're uncomfortable, something is wrong, or the vision, the pull of a vision. What you see today does not match what's up here. And you want to make things different. You want to make things different to how they've been in all the years past. One of the two is always going to be happening. And what I would suggest is that if you don't make the choice of change, it will happen by chance. But change is 100% probable, universal, constant. Life as we know it, always in motion. Even when we think it sits still, like that. The atoms on your table vibrating as you, at this point, even if you can't see it. Change inevitable everywhere. And even if you're successful, like some of the iconic brands you may see on the screen, it doesn't mean that you should be complacent. Too big to fall is a myth. The dinosaurs were pretty big. Change happens. And you have to be thinking, how do I mitigate against these things as a leader? And one of my favorite poets, Rudyard Kipling, discovered him back in university via one of my industrial engineering lectures. He has a line that says, I knew 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names were what and why and when, how and where and who. And folks, I'm going to suggest to you that part of your job as leaders is asking great questions. All the permutations of them. Because this is how you predict change and what is going to be required. Making sense? Because we've seen global competition for talent. Since the pandemic, your market physically is no longer what it is. We've got folks right here and over here, all watching, different parts of the world. Jobs are available across the planet that people can choose from. Automation and artificial intelligence are on the rise. When I had a chance to live in the Netherlands for a bit, I was astounded to be in a factory that was about 25 times bigger than what I saw in Barbados, with about 1/8 of the staff running it. Automation at its prime. Different skill set, Same process, just artificial intelligence running. That is going to continue and grow. The skills you need are going to change in your workforce. Employee engagement needs have evolved. People are looking for different things from their employers. I was on a webinar recently where the speaker was talking about it's no longer the days of organizations just saying, this is us and this is our culture. You just align to it. Organizations now have to be aware of the social culture, diversity, equity, inclusion. These things matter to top tier talent. And if you were stuck 10 years ago, not evolving to be marketable to the workforce and the talent you seek to drive your business forward, you're gonna be very soon stuck. We know the world is now hybrid and remote, decentralized workforces. And no matter what, the unexpected will happen. Crisis. One of my colleagues in process improvement, Jimmy Tim, said, don't waste a good crisis, because there's always chances for you to learn and grow through it. And the key is how open you are as leaders to asking those right questions. And so engineers are often pretty bad at memory, so we tend to use our bodies to memorize things. And since you are all leaving here as HR engineers, as you go back to your boardrooms, I'm going to teach you not Fleming's left-hand rule of magnetism. I'm going to teach you what I call Skeete's two-thumb frameworks. Quite cheesy, right? So let's practice. Everybody thumbs up. Look at someone close by and say, you're awesome. Awesome. Perfect. You're awesome. DJ, you're awesome. And then index fingers forward. And look at them again and say, you were smart to be here. Very smart to be here. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Now take those hands, put those thumbs together, and look through the peephole. Target in sight. At home, are you watching? Target in sight. The theme of this conference, where we're all here, where are we going? There needs to be some target to aspire towards, right? And so the first of Skeete's two-thumb laws is what I call the diamond of destination as a starting point. And let's practice that one. 2 thumbs down. Not for my performance, just for the exercise. Put those thumbs together. And now touch your fingertips. At the top of this diamond is direction. Because if you think about your journeys as professionals, as individuals, as leaders of business, we're all on journeys to some target in sight, some destination. And what we are looking for first up is what is our direction towards that destination? What is your North Star? What else do you need for a journey? A means of transport. You may start on foot. It may be a bus. When I heard Gabby's fisherman just now, those songs can move memories. My grandfather wanted to be an engineer, never had the opportunity at that time in Barbados. Part of my work is to honor his legacy in that way. But he had a great career working in the Transport Board Authority. Bus driver, bus operator. And we know as HR leaders, we're taking our people on a journey. Leadership in the driver's seat, the bus of your business, and you are moving. But only if you put that bus into gear and take action. No map never took you anywhere. You could have the best vehicle, best direction, until you put your foot to the floor, put it in motion. There's no progress. You agree? What happens on every journey? Inevitably, you start, you move, you have a great plan, and then everything falls apart. Flat tire in your first hour of traveling. Somebody calls in sick, the driver is not available. The road is blocked, impassable. You may have to go backwards. But in every phase of your lives and your organizations, you have to adapt. And that's what we're here today. So that's your diamond of destination. And that adaptation is going to transition to the second thing that I'm going to show you, because one of my favorite mentors from the past, Dimon, in his book, Out of Crisis, that's where we are now, coming out of crisis. He said the aim of leadership should be to improve the performance of man, woman, or machine, to improve quality, to increase output, and simultaneously to bring pride of workmanship to people. Put in a negative way, the aim of leadership is not to find failures of people, but to remove the causes of failure. Remove the causes of failure. To help people do a better job with less effort. They say good engineers are lazy. That's maybe too full. I think I work hard, but you also have to think smart. How can you make your people's lives easier? What needs to change that they fail fewer times? Because their failures are on you as a leader. You hire them, you manage everything they do, and you are ultimately responsible. And I know you feel that burden of leadership. Whether you own the organization or not, you know what it takes to carry that burden. And it's part of the package, part of the sacrifice of leadership, inevitable. But I want you to navigate all of that and have this second framework in mind to take you forward. So we're back to our shapes. We had our circle, we had our diamond, and I call this the triangle of transformation, inspired by this event itself, being limber. So let's go again. Target in sight. Left hand is leadership. Right hand is process. They support people. Your leadership and your process are the foundation that support your people. They can only be as good as those two components. So we know that whole debate of leaders versus managers. Leaders can't really manage people. People will say it's like herding cats. Cats aren't herded. They go wherever they feel like. Sheep, perhaps. You don't manage people, you lead people. And you manage process. One more time for those in the back. Y'all listen online? Leaders lead people. And we manage process. Yeah? So you are both leaders and managers, but they're two different roles. And you need to always have that in mind in your triangle of transformation. Because what's the actual work? The process. That's what people do. And I love this little thing because it's simple. It applies to you yourself or your organization. A process is as simple as frying an egg in the morning. Same thing every day, different steps. How could you make that 2 minutes shorter? Your process for getting dressed, having a shower, all process. We don't think about it typically, but the work in our workplace, once it's repeated, a question of process. Financial planning, strategic planning, decision-making, process. Our minds are like computers that can only process one thing at a time. How you put those together makes all the difference. And they drive the leadership that you want, the culture you want, the process that you have to run your business, the machine. That determines the type of person that you need and their level of performance. Is this simple and clear for everybody? So when you go out to your boardrooms and the boss asks a question, what did you get from this conference? You can say, well, just hold on a moment, sir, or ma'am. Follow me. Triangle of transformation. Leadership, people, process. Because what happens when these things go to sync? Right leadership, right process, wrong people. Stagnation. The bus is being driven, is in motion, is working. People are not on board. Things start to fall apart. People being left behind. Right leadership, right people, no process. What happens? Confusion. Chaos reigns. Do you know how many organizations are extremely disorganized? So, resounding, yes, yes. Resounding. There's no order, there's no structure. There's no system in place to help people perform at their best. People are running towards digital transformation before they even get the process right. What is being transformed? Confusion. Technology is supposed to help you, not hinder you. And some organizations, folks, are being made more inefficient by putting technology that should not be there. That's the reality. Right people, right process, no leadership, resignation. Your people don't trust you to take this journey. They want to get off the bus. So I made these little equations just for you when I broke it down about what it takes to be limber. So that you always have these variables in your mind as you move forward for yourself. When I think about my process for changing my daughter in the bathtub in the evening, I've got that down to a science. I ready the water, wifey gets baby ready. While that's happening, kettle is boiling. At the same time, cream laid out, everything laid out. Then we meet together with the baby, bath water and baby. I work on the milk, she does the cleaning, and then we go back. I do wash up, she does baby, and we can do that in 47 minutes. I timed it. The things that you have to do when you're fully stretched parenting in a pandemic, right? Claim every minute that you can. But I want you to look around your lives, your organizations for these variables. Changing your leadership, changing your process. And one of my colleagues in engineering, he had a mentor that infamously said, you know, sometimes if you can't change the people, you gotta change the people. And I tend to agree. Because if you as a leader know where this bus is going, and if people are not aligning with your culture as a leader, if they don't align with your process and how you work, it's best you find different opportunities. Because leaders must find a way for the team to win, even if it means losing some people along the way. They're not lost. You do them a favor in the long run, helping them to find a place and a fit that's better for them. I used to be really worried about firing people. I still feel the pain. You don't want anybody to lose work. And I know you've been in this situation many times, but your responsibility is bigger than one person. And you have a twofold role, you agree? And you must always, always keep that in mind. If you ever get rid of people, and this is just a side note, make sure you've given them all the tools to succeed first. I don't mind letting anyone go if I've given them every single thing they needed to thrive. That's your job first as leaders. If you agree, say I agree. You agree? Put it in the chat. All right, good. We're all clear. So HR professionals, people professionals have become linchpins in organizations. I see you as sitting at the center of these three entities: leadership, people, and process. The linchpin is the old mechanism that would be on the wheel of horse carriages to stop the wheels from falling off the cart. That's literally what many of you have done for the past couple of years, keeping the wheels from falling off the cart. And now, perhaps more than ever, human resource professionals have an opportunity to influence at the top level, where senior leadership is listening about what needs to change. And you need to seize this moment while it's still present, because the crisis is always going to change. And after the presentation, you'll get a link for this nice article that I saw that I think you should all read, showing how some of those changes can make all the world of difference, creating new roles to match the time and the direction that you're going towards. But you are the linchpins. Because I did some more research and looking at an MIT study about the 5 top drivers in the Great Resignation across North America. And what I would call now, especially in the Caribbean, the growing frustration of people who haven't left, but they would love to, because of how things are and they don't want to go back for different reasons. And I color-coded it just so you can see that the drivers are rarely the people themselves. Leadership and process failures, toxic culture. Whose fault is that? Put it in the chat. Leadership. If your culture is wrong, it's not the people. Leadership allowed it. You set the tone of what is acceptable and not. You control that. Job insecurity and reorganization. If you have a job insecure situation, it's time to change process. Your business model isn't working effectively. Something needs to change to keep profits up, job security high. High levels of innovation. People trying to change things too quickly, all at once. Everyone's stressed out, mental health breakdowns. And that's a bit of all three. Because you as leaders have to know that every personality in your organization is different. People handle stress differently. And if you know you want an innovative company, you need to find personalities that are willing to be that, to go out there and take a step, try the unknown. Failure to recognize performance. Some leaders just don't care to do it. Others don't have a process or a system to even measure it. How can you recognize performance if you don't know what that is objectively? And of course, the poor response to COVID-19. People seeing how their employers responded in the heat of the crisis and making deep emotional decisions about your organization. Top 5 drivers from MIT research. And what else stood out to me from Google in their study, the most important factor for teams and their performance was psychological safety. If you want your people to be open to change, to make things happen, to be limber, to be loud in the workplace, to make their voices heard, they need psychological safety. Safe spaces in the organization where ideas can thrive, where there's room to fail. And not just be a strike against your performance because it didn't work. How do you create that as leaders is entirely up to you, and there's so many ways that you can do it. But you must leave here knowing that that is at the core of making change effectively. And so, like I could spend the entire conference breaking down these triangles for you. And of course, we don't have time as we come in for a close. We know that leadership, that triangle, could be broken down into vision, growth, and influence. Leadership has to know where we're going to set your direction. They need to be able to grow themselves as a professional, just like you're doing here, and grow others around them. They need to be able to influence others. They say the leader who is leading but has no one following is just a person taking a walk. And so many leaders have positions today and call themselves that, and there's no influence. On social media, people have thousands of followers, but if they ask them to do anything, nothing happens. Not buy a product, not anything else. At the core of leadership is influence, and every HR professional has to know that and how to leverage it within their teams. How to get the most out of people of different personalities. How to be dynamic and adjust to the range of personalities and behaviors that exist in your organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all for leadership. Process, a combination of energy, time, and a set of steps. There's so many ways that different things can be done. Most organizations right now are not thinking about how we can change the way we do things. Make it shorter, make it faster, add technology, remove technology, change people, change steps. I saw an organization that was doing a step from the 1980s, before the internet. And you ask why? Why are we doing this? It's how we've always done it. And sometimes you need people outside to come and look at what you're doing to say, well, okay, this could be different. When you're in a mix of things all the time, you know, like when you're looking at your progress in exercise and you look in the mirror and you say, well, nothing is changing. Until you put a couple of pictures side by side. Or you run into an old friend that says, well, things are looking different. You need to do that continuously. But at the core of what I want to kind of wrap up on today is your people triangle. You have got to remember at every stage that people are tripart beings. Mind, body, spirit. On some level. A level that exists spiritually above the mental skills and abilities and so forth. Who can quantify the spirit in this room? The laughter of doing a little mini conga line at our Caribbean conference. Who can do that? For me, when my daughter was born back in January a couple of years ago, I think every life in an organization has defining moments. One of those moments was being in the post-delivery room and having to do the bonding moment. So you're sitting in the dark, shirt back, and she's on my chest there breathing. And I look up in the dark, because the eyes can't handle the light, of course. I see another dad in the shadows, and our eyes lock. And we just do the gentleman's nod. Like, I see you, sir. And in that moment, all kind of thoughts fill in my mind saying you have to be someone different. You have to be someone stronger, better, a growing example. And I want you to fuse that spirit of leadership into the way you even engage your teams. When you can cultivate that skill of moving people not just logically, but emotionally, when you can touch their hearts, minds, and souls, when your leadership can outlast your physical presence, that is a special type of ability. Few and far between, but is definitely learnable. The person who can take care of all parts of your people, body and mind. You have experts here that can help you get your people right, even if they're working hybrid and remote. Stay active. And of course, we cannot at all overlook the mind, mental health. I'm sure people have been challenged in different ways over the past years. Working alone can be challenging. Sometimes not alone, but in a difficult situation. And you have to remember that your people are human beings first, employees second. The problems and challenges don't go away when they come to the workplace. And a modern leader of business has to be aware of that and put solutions in place to do what? Prevent causes of failure. It makes sense? And this is Mental Health Awareness Month, May. If you didn't know, now you know. And the perfect time to look at those things and put things in place. And as I close on the final question of how, very briefly, because you can find the tactics and the techniques everywhere, I wanted to focus on the fundamentals of what needs to be changed, what really matters. But how you do it, I've got 3 keys for you. I call them SMART because I want you to remember S and M. Number 1, think. Strategically minimalist. Apply the 80-20 principle, which basically says a small number of causes affect the majority of the effects. So there are a small number of issues in each of your organizations, each of your lives that make all the difference. If you're running a business, even if you're running your day as a professional, there are a very small number of things in your work that cause the biggest impact. If you don't do the other things, nobody will complain. If you don't do the essential things, everything will fall apart. And you have to start each day of your life knowing what those things are. Strategically, change those first. Don't try to take it all on, it's too much. B, Scrum-minded. 5 values of Scrum: be courageous, be focused, be committed, respectful, and open. And you've got a host of speakers digging into some of these things that will take you to the next level across the board. And finally, do. Put those things into action. A plan on paper is just paper. Implement a model. I like Demen's plan, do, check, act. Make a hypothesis, think about what could be changed, test it, check the results, adjust for your most important priorities. And folks, that has been the summary of everything today. Because what I really want you to do is understand that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential. Knowledge applied into action becomes powerful. Take this, take everything you get across this conference, put it to use. Find your, show me again, diamonds of destination, let me see them. Diamonds of destination, apply then your triangles of transformation, and of course, keep your circles of support. Now you can make a 1-degree shift today, that over the course of 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, you might say, hey, I was there on that May Day in 2022. I heard Greg speak some good ideas, and now we're worlds apart. An aircraft leaving Bridgetown, going to Los Angeles, 1 degree off, you could be states away. Send that distance further, let's say it's the moon, you may miss Mars altogether. So I want you to take that, apply it, and please, as I close, because it is important, take care of your mental health. Take care of yourself first. As they say, you have to put your oxygen mask on before you can help others. And high performers like you, myself, we often put ourselves last. So take care of yourself, take care of your team, and become the HR leaders and HR engineers that I know everyone here is destined to be. I thank you all for your attention.